We hear a lot about a lot of negativity around dating for women, particularly 40 and up.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
say there's pee in the dating pool. I keep hearing that.
I haven't heard that one,
I keep
but
hearing there's pee in the dating pool. They're saying the dating pool sucks.
it's important to be audacious from
Mhm.
getting mayonnaise on your
Mhm.
sandwich
Mhm.
to you really stepping into who you are
Right.
as that woman, as that beautifully bold woman,
Right.
as that fly woman,
Mhm.
and then having the audacity to turn the volume up for the next level of your life.
Welcome to Unapologetically FLY, the podcast, where we discuss what it takes to be unapologetic about finally living for yourself, no matter the age, situation, or circumstance. I'm your host, Renee Mitchell Simpson, the self-love and happiness coach and founder of B.O.L.D Lifestyle and Travel. I'll be bringing you experts, friends, coaches, and those in my network to help us aunties navigate reinventing our life at this big age because, sis, it truly is never too late to fly. And by fly, I mean finally live for yourself. Hello, this is the Unapologetically FLY podcast, and I'm your host, Renee Mitchell Simpson. Today, I am excited to welcome my very special guest and good friend, Vaneese Johnson of
Bold, big, bad.
Okay, bold, big, bad. Vaneese is the boldness coach.
Yes.
Vaneese has come all the way from California and is
Yeah.
sitting on my sofa here in metropolitan Atlanta area.
Yeah.
And I want you to share with us all about your boldness coach business.
Wow. Well, first, I want to just say thank you. It's an honor to be here. I am just so excited. And I'm on the couch, I'm on the teal couch. It's
Yes.
comfy, it's cozy. So I'm excited about that. And thank you for the opportunity to just share and to be fly.
Yes, ma'am. And you are embodying it for real. You got the
I got the memo. I got the memo. So I'm known as the boldness coach,
memo.
and I help women to be bold, big, and bad, and live a life of no permission needed.
All right, all right. Tell me what does all of that mean? I love it because it reminds me of being unapologetic.
Yes,
Go ahead,
it
tell me
is. It's
about
very
it.
unapologetic, just even in the wording, because whenever I share with someone my title, the boldness coach, and what I do, they're always like, wow, tell me more. I want more of that. Like it feels good.
Uh-huh.
So, bold, big, bad is an acronym, individual acronyms, but they all work together in concert.
Oh,
So, bold stands for becoming out loud daily. And that
okay.
has to do with us evolving into who we are as women, as powerful, amazing women, every
Mhm.
day in every way. Becoming has to do with really coming from the lower half of possibility to a higher frequency of actuality.
Girl, say that again. One more time. I need to hear that one again.
So becoming means
Uh-huh.
that you are moving from the state of possibility to a higher frequency of actuality.
Okay. So in your coaching process,
Mhm.
you teach us how to go through that
Yeah.
transformation.
I teach women how to transform, into becoming, because it's an evolution. It's not like you wake up and ta-da. We really get to embody and embrace the journey that we've had in our individual lives so far. So,
Yes.
and being unapologetic about becoming,
Amen.
because who you are right now isn't necessarily who you're meant to be for whatever that next phase is for you.
Right. And problems come in when people get comfortable
Yes.
in who they are
Yes.
and don't want to make that transition and move forward.
Yeah, complacency is a killer of growth because
Amen.
it's easy to be complacent.
Sure is.
And big stands for building in your genius. We were
Mm.
all born with at least one genius. And that one genius, if we tap into that genius and go down the rabbit hole with that genius, it could
Mhm.
really shift our lives exponentially. So we
Mhm.
could be able to create more wealth in our lives. We
Right.
could be able to create wealth for our families.
Mhm.
We can serve our communities better, but we have to build in that genius. And
Mm.
I'm definitely a demonstration of what I teach women to do because I used to get in trouble in school for talking in class.
And so, girl, you who did you get in trouble with?
Right?
I got in trouble with my mama.
Did you?
Ooh, why they call my house? I'm traumatized. I still
Your
remember
sister,
that. 'Cause,
I used to have to write
ooh,
lines. The
yes.
teacher would assign homework and then would assign lines. With the homework, I will not talk in class.
Mhm.
25, 50,
Mhm.
75, 100 lines. And they would be due the next day, which meant that, I had to be writing all evening,
Ooh,
night long. And so my
girl.
penmanship sucks
What?
from having to write so much of
It
that, right?
should be
It is
perfect.
not perfect. Your hand gets tired after writing all those lines.
Girl.
But I really help women to identify what their gift is. What
Yeah.
really is, where's the opportunity for them to live big in their lives? Because we are just conditioned, Renee, from our families, from our community, from our culture. When we do well at something, then they sometimes you get sold into, oh, that's the thing that you should do.
Mhm.
Nobody in my family is a professional speaker. No one ever had heard of that as I was growing up. I didn't even know what that was until I really embarked on my career and started recognizing my gift.
Mm.
And so, when you're told in class to stop talking, or you're told to stop
Mhm.
drawing, you're told to stop daydreaming,
You
you
told to
know,
stop being yourself.
but stop being yourself. So you don't see that is a gift. You see it
Right.
more like a hindrance because that's what you've been taught. So I help
Mhm.
women to really tap into, what their bigness is. And
Mhm.
let's identify ways that you can go down the rabbit hole. And what I mean by that is you ask yourself, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? So
Yeah.
you just keep going and going down the rabbit hole of the what else I can do. And things start to unfold for you.
Mm.
Then you can tap back into the bold and becoming, and you start to see move from possible to actual.
Mm.
And then bad is stands for being audaciously daring.
Okay.
You have to really,
I
we
like
get
that.
to embody, in our lives, having the attitude of audacity.
Yes.
What do you have the nerve to
Mhm.
do?
Mhm.
Who do you have the nerve to become?
Mhm.
And that question, who do you think you are? I think it's a fabulous question,
Girl.
because it really begs that you really reflect internally of who you really feel that you are, not who you think, who you
Mhm.
feel that
Mhm.
you are,
Mm.
and start living your life from an audacious way. I'll give you an example. I was at a restaurant in Atlanta
Mm.
and I had ordered a sandwich. And I asked the server, does mayo come on the sandwich? And he said, no, it comes on the side. And I said, okay, perfect. The sandwich comes and there's no mayo. He
Uh-huh.
forgot to bring it. So I asked him, I said, can I, have the mayo? And he was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'll get you two. And I said, actually four.
Oop.
And he
Oop.
said, but you only really need two. And I said, no, you asked me how many I wanted, and I said
Right.
four.
How you
So
gonna tell
four
me
is
what
what
I
I
need?
want.
Right. How you
And
gonna
he
tell me
was
what
like,
I need?
okay, then I'm getting four.
Yeah.
And I make that point because it's important to be audacious from
Mhm.
getting mayonnaise on your
Mhm.
sandwich
Mhm.
to you really stepping into who you are
Right.
as that woman, as that beautifully bold woman,
Right.
as that fly woman,
Mhm.
and then having the audacity to turn the volume up for the next level of your life. But we
Mhm.
need to start practicing audacity on the smaller
Even in the
levels,
little
even in the
things.
little things, because it will evolve and you will find yourself continuing to grow and it becomes comfortable for you
Yes.
and it becomes a norm
Your
for you
habit.
to speak up
Right.
for what you want.
Right.
So
Right.
I help women to find, who do you need to be so
Yes.
that you can live life with no permission needed.
Man, I mean, that reminds me of a time I was at the airport. I don't know if I told you this story
Mhm.
before, but I'm in line to get a latte at
Mhm.
Starbucks. And it's so funny because this exact same thing. Did you ever watch the game?
I never watched the game. Was that the show on
Oh,
BET?
girl, yes.
Yeah.
It was so
I don't watch a
good.
lot of TV
I
because I
don't either,
just
but this was back in the
yeah.
day. But there was an episode, this exact pretty much the same thing happened. But anyway, I'm
Uh-huh.
in line to get my latte and I'm on the phone
Mhm.
and I look up and a man has jumped in front of me.
Wow.
So I just kind of laughed out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And he heard me. He turned around
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, you're on the phone. And I just kind of threw my hand like, whatever, go
Yeah.
ahead. It's not that
Right.
big of a deal,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So I continue on the phone. Then I get off the phone and he's placing his order. And then he turns around to me and he says, what will you have?
Yeah.
So I say, and in my head, I'm thinking, oh, wow, he's going to buy my drink. Maybe I should. And then I stopped.
Mm.
No, ma'am. Maybe I should get what I was going to get.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I said, I'll have a grande soy triple shot hazelnut latte with extra foam.
Mm-hmm.
That's my usual.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of looks like, his face is like, what in the heck, And so the lady, she takes my order.
Yeah.
And then when she tells him the price, I
Mhm.
is like, okay, that'll be, $8 and blah, blah, blah. Because with his order.
Sure.
And he's like, well, whatever happened to just a plain old cup of coffee? And I said, sir, I have leopard print luggage. Do I look like I would order a plain old cup of coffee?
Hello. Hello.
Thinking there's nothing plain old about me. Number one. Number two, you shouldn't have jumped in front of me if you didn't want to pay for this grande
Absolutely.
soy
Absolutely.
hazelnut
Yeah.
latte. But for a quick second, I
Yeah.
thought about, getting a tall, getting a single shot.
You thought about changing.
I thought about changing who
Yeah.
I am to accommodate someone who
Right.
jumped
Right.
in front of me
Right. Right.
without my permission.
Right.
No. So yeah,
Right.
it's those little things
Yeah.
that become your habits,
Mm-hmm.
that become who you are.
Yeah, because when you're second guessing yourself, that really is alerting you that you perhaps need to develop your worthiness.
Yes, ma'am. And you feel it. You have
Yeah,
that
you
whole
do.
conversation
Mhm.
internally. Every time you make a decision, you'll have that conversation where you're trying to figure out, am I pleasing me or am I pleasing them?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
doing what I want or am I, trying to make someone else comfortable?
Yeah. And because we have been conditioned, through our families, our friends, through culture, through traditions, we just automatically default to that. And we don't realize we're defaulting to it until one day you look around your life and you're like, this is not what I wanted. Like, or I want more of this. How do I get more? Or I don't want any of this and I want to be able to build what I really want. So we get the opportunity to be audacious and really start stepping into it. And I guarantee when women follow being bold, big, and bad, their life changes because one action begets another. And once you start doing it, you're like, I cannot believe that it took me so long, but we have to go through the journey that we have to go through to get to who we need to become.
Yes, there's so much that we can change in our
Yes.
lives that we just don't even realize the power that we have a lot of times
Yeah, we don't.
until it's late in life. That's why I
Yeah.
said finally living for yourself.
Yes.
Finally,
I
because
love that analogy.
yeah, because we spend a lot of our earlier years living for somebody else.
You do. You do.
Yeah.
And it's great to be in this space. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I had the experiences that I had in order to get to this point to where I am, because I so appreciate it. Even this morning when I woke up, I'm getting ready to go back to the Bay Area. I left home on the 9th of this month and I went to Charlotte to speak at a conference. And then I spent time in Charlotte. I had never been there before. And then I left Charlotte and I came down to Atlanta to spend time with some other amazing women. And it's just been beautiful. And this morning when I woke up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love my life.
Yes.
To be able to pack my bags and be gone as long as I have been gone, it's a blessing to be able to do that. But also having the nerve to say, I'm going to put this part of my life on pause and I'm going to go other places and enjoy my life. And then it'll be here when I get back.
That freedom feels good.
Listen, I need a t-shirt, bumper sticker, screensaver, license plate tag. Yeah, it should be in my voicemail, like all of that. Right.
Yes, love it. We're going to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Well-Diva. Well-Diva.com is where you can go to access all that Well Diva lifestyle has to offer. Right now, we have several wonderful trips going on and wellness retreats. We have gone to places like Italy and India. We're getting ready to go to India. We've been to Tanzania and Thailand and Dubai. We've just been all over the world. So if you are a woman who, I'd say maybe 40 and up, that's the bulk of our group. If you are looking to see the world with like minded women who are into luxury and into wellness, you want to join us at welldiva.com and select something wonderful for yourself. All right, Vaneese. So I want to talk to you about bad, being audaciously daring. Is that it?
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about that last week when we talked. And we were talking about something that really got my attention that you do on Facebook called your dating chronicles. I want to talk about that if you don't mind.
Let's talk. I'd
Being
love to.
audaciously daring in dating, because we hear a lot about a lot of negativity around dating for women, particularly 40 and up. They say there's pee in the dating pool. I keep hearing that.
I haven't heard that one.
I keep hearing there's pee in the dating pool. They're saying the dating pool sucks.
Okay.
So you tell us what you have to say about that.
You know, it's interesting because I didn't think that at this point in my life that I would be dating per se. I had a vision in my mind that I would have been married and, had been married for a long time, and just on to, us getting to the point where we were just kind of in that space of retiring out, right? Retiring from work and what have you in my business. And, the universe had other plans for me and other plans for me. So after being married and then going through a divorce, of course, I think every woman, and speaking specifically from the point of view of a woman, you just kind of reflect on your life and you start, again, is this what I want? Do I want more of this? Do I want more of that? And I had to really start thinking about, the next level of companionship. What is it that I want that to look like for me? And I went through a long process really of working on myself, Renee. When I say working on myself, really getting clear, stepping into my own boldness, really making sure that I was creating the life that I wanted for myself versus giving someone else, control of doing that for me.
Yeah, because you hear a lot of people say they want someone to make them happy.
Yeah.
That's an inside job.
It is a very much an inside job to do that. So when I got ready to step back out in the dating pool, I think the first time I dabbled in it, I don't think I really was ready internally. I think I was in a default mode.
Really?
Default mode meaning, oh, I'm going to meet someone and then we're just going to click and then we're going to move in together and we're going to travel and we're just going to live happily ever after.
And so when that didn't happen,
but what was funny was what I discovered when I started doing the dating chronicles was it was more about me. I was learning so much about myself in the dating process. It wasn't necessarily so much to pick apart the other person, but I realized that I wow, I didn't know like you were talking about the latte. I wasn't really comfortable saying what I really want, the type of restaurant I wanted to go and have dinner at.
Okay.
I wasn't, because I was thinking about another person's budget versus thinking about how do I treat myself?
Right.
When I'm taking myself out to dinner, where do I take myself?
Right, because that other person is just picking up where you leave off.
Exactly.
They're following your lead, your example.
Yes. So I had to really look and pay attention to how I was showing up because they were mirroring back to me. He was mirroring back to me how I was showing up in the world.
Yeah.
And so if I was inconsistent, with my answers, if I wasn't clear and, really have a stance on my answers, then that gave him permission to not be clear and have a stance. Or it gave him permission to challenge me, if I really thought and felt that way. And so I just kind of was able to have an out-of-body experience when I would be on a date and put myself on the outside of that experience and really look at like what's happening in the exchange here.
Okay.
And it blew my mind because what we tend to do, and I really read a lot about dating. I don't read as much as I used to because it'll get stuck in your head. And if you read a lot about other people's experiences, especially negativity in dating, guess what you're gonna have? Negative dating experience, right?
What you focus on.
That's what you focus on, and you're looking towards for that, right? And so what I also learned from dating is I was able to develop compassion for the men that I was on dates with. Because what I realized is like, this is a regular person. They have got maybe some traumas. You know, they may be in a healing process in their lives. They work every day. They're working towards whatever their goals are financially, career-wise. They don't have an unlimited resource, you know, of money to just be throwing it all away. And from a perspective of me coming in here and saying, I made him take me to a 5-star restaurant when I'm really used to eating at 2-star. You know what I mean? So I really kind of was able to have some compassion with the dates that I experienced and really listened to them from a perspective of just human to human. It was just like, oh my God, I had no idea that this person probably was on their own healing journey. Because I was looking at them initially to come and heal me.
Wow.
Come and help me, you know, because you can help save me.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility to put on a date.
Person, right.
Yeah, on the other person. It's a lot of responsibility. And then I thought about myself. I wouldn't want that responsibility on me. Don't come on a date with me and you realize that this person is intelligent and engaging and fun and their life seems to be flowing with ease. And you come to me and you give me all your woes and your victim stories. And then you want me to take you in and make your life better. So I had to switch roles on that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like now, like I am so sorry, you know, that I came to, you know, those experiences with the expectation of what other people, you know, had deemed to be appropriate or what other people wanted. And so I stopped dating for a while because I'm like, I really do want to get focused on my spiritual, my emotion, my mental, my financial. You know, I really wanted to get focused and get clear in each of those areas because here's the truth of the matter, Renee. I needed to take full 100% responsibility in those areas.
You know, it's I'm hearing this more and more now. I don't know, is this new or has this been done before and I just didn't know about it? But I'm hearing more and more people working on themselves before they go out and try to partner up with someone. Like, is this new? Like, or had you been hearing this for a while?
I think it's new in the sense where the intention has been in part around dating. I think we've done this before for our careers, for education, you know.
Yeah, but around dating, like we're actually hearing people, you know, getting healed of their traumas, going back and correcting things with their, you know, the parents and all that.
All of that. And that comes up to when we hit a milestone of 50. When you turn 50, you know, something happens when you step over that threshold of 50. You got so much experience that you get to tap back into. You got stories, you have a whole life you've lived, and you get to reflect to see and look at who were you in those experiences. Who were you being? And who did you really want to be in those experiences? And if you could recreate them, who do you get to be when you create them for the next level? So I had to really step back and look at, you know, those different areas of my life and to really dig deep, peel the layers back, address those areas of trauma that I would potentially be projecting onto a mate. You know, to be aware of, you know, my energy, you know, the spiritual connection. You know, I really needed to tap into all of those areas. And so as I worked on those things, and then I would check with myself too, Renee, and I'd be like, Vaneese, is it, you know, spirit, is it time to date? And then my spirit and my soul would be like, nope. And I'd be like, but why not? But why? And then I did that for several times until one day I woke up and told myself, Don't ask yourself that anymore.
I was gonna say, how do you know? Like, because, like, how do you know? So you finally just said, I've decided.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to probably trip some people up. Is that when I was asking that question of my spirit, is it time to date? Is it time to date? I had an agenda. I wanted to drive my own agenda. So it's, that old joke they say, if you want to tell God a joke, if you want to make God laugh, tell him what you want to do. Yeah, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
So I was really driving that from external pressure. Nobody actually came to me and said, you should be married by now and you should do this. But I felt some pressure from just the culture around me.
So, okay, well, help me get clear.
Sure.
So you're saying that you were asking the question because you wanted to date.
Yeah.
And you were wanting to date because you were on a timeline, I guess.
Yeah. I felt like, okay, I'm in my 50s.
Okay.
I'm in my mid 50s now. I'm in my 50s and I should by now have this. I should now have that. And I feel like I'm behind because I don't have those things.
Okay.
And then retirement, if, at the time, retirement's 15 years away, right? Traditional retirement is 15 years away. And I'm like, I got to get on the ball. I got to get going. I got to get, so that same energy that I was looking to plan other facets of my life, I was bringing that same energy to the dating experience. Like I need to hurry up and find a person.
Okay.
So that person can help fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I'm just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
Right? That person I'm an entrepreneur. I have been for the last almost 28 years now, full time. But it's like, I know that person can fill in the gaps and, we can have this, we can have that. And so I was really just approaching it with my own personal agenda. And it's nothing wrong with finding somebody that you're equally yoked with. I want to be clear about that, right? But you got to really look at where are you and what you are bringing to the table as well as the other person. Right. And you may balance them out spiritually. You may be able to balance them out, bringing your femininity to it. But you got to know that about yourself so that you can be able to say, okay, this is really the opportunity that's before us to be able to, to yoke each other and complement each other and yoke each other in a way that the other can't. So when I got clear about that, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I gave it up and I said, I'm going to start pushing my own agenda and my own timeline. I am going to learn how to be and just be.
Okay.
And I'm going to trust that the universe is going to talk to me and tell me. It tells me everything else.
Right.
So why would it not tell me this?
Okay. So then did that happen?
That happened. And it was so funny because I was maybe washing dishes or doing something else around the house. And my spirit was like, it's time. And I was like, say what? What? It was like, it's time. And I'm like, time for what? Time to date? Like, it's time to date? And my spirit was like, yeah, it's time to date. And I'm telling you, this is going to crack everybody up probably. I hadn't started my work day yet. I had finished my morning walk and I was sitting at the desk, I was walking around, getting myself ready to get into my day. And that download came. And so when I went to my office, my home office, I actually just opened up a clean slate of paper. Clean slate on Word, on Word. Yeah. And I just took the first half of the day off. And I said, because I really wanted to make sure that what I was about to write is a true representation of who I am in this moment of my life.
And what were you writing?
My goodness. It was, I should have queued it up and brought it with me.
This was this a dating?
This is a dating app. So I decided to go online to date. So thank you for clarifying that. But even before going online to date, I just really needed to write a really clear description about who I am at this point in my life. I also reflected on what things that were important to me, like someone who can embrace and support my entrepreneurial journey. Embrace and support.
So you were writing your dating profile.
My profile, yes.
I had a friend that did that, and she we talked. I might have mentioned to you, but she told me about hers, and then I talked to you about yours. Yeah. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
She and y'all both went on the same format. I'm not gonna say the name because I'm not a sponsor.
Right.
But but she was saying that she was really basically bold about what she wanted. And one of the things she said was, I want a man who makes X amount of money. I think it
Yeah.
was like 6 figures or
Yeah.
something like that. And she had some people tell her, that she shouldn't do that. That was being, I don't know what the word they used, but they just thought it was not a good idea. But she found that it did weed out
Yeah. Yeah.
some men
Yeah.
who were, offended by that.
Yeah.
They even let her know,
Yep.
in so many words that they didn't agree with her doing that. But anyway, that's what she got, and that's
Yeah.
what she ended up marrying.
Yeah.
Gotta ask for what you want.
You
regardless
got to
of what it
know
is.
what you want, and
Right.
you really do need to be in a position to really bring what you're asking for. So if I'm asking that potential mate to really embrace my entrepreneurial journey and support me, then I need to be open to willing to embrace, parts of their journey and what that looks like,
Okay.
or embrace the way that they could possibly support me. And so I was really clear. I also was clear about, I wanted a relationship where I could be able to thrive from my feminine essence.
Okay.
I want a space where I can be able to be a support,
Yeah.
to be able to be a good listening partner, to be a companion, where I could cook,
Yeah.
and where I could be able to really submit in a way without having to tackle if I'm being subservient.
Okay.
But I want that space because I run a company, and again, I've been an entrepreneur for 28 years full time. I know how to be a boss.
Yeah.
So I don't need to come home
Right.
and still wearing the boss suit
Right.
and the boss mindset. I want to come home and be a girly girl.
Yeah.
I want to come home, kick my shoes off, take my makeup off, and I just want to flip the TV on. Or I want to be in the kitchen cooking and we talking about the day, sharing a meal together at the table. I want to be in that feminine where I'm supporting my partner. If that support looks like I am cooking your dinner and making your lunch for you, or walking you to the door in the morning. And I had done aspects of that in other dating experiences. But because I wasn't clear about what I needed in return, I wasn't getting what I wanted in return.
Giving.
I was just giving, hoping that, this person is going to click. So it just really changed, the way that the connection started happening. And what was funny is when I got clear, I also recognized, because I had been dating on and off online for years, I could see the tone and the growth, because before in my old profiles, I would have stuff like, I don't respond to likes. If you want my attention, you're going to have to send me a message,
Just hostile.
and you just really need, yes.
Just nasty.
Just nasty. Just hostile and nasty with a cute picture.
Just negative.
Just negative Nancy.
Well, yeah, because that's one thing. A lot of times when you ask people what they want, they are happy to tell you what they don't want.
What they
but
don't
guess
want.
what? They don't know what they
They
want.
don't know. And so that's why I took half the day off, because I literally sat in front of my computer and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a truth moment. Like I don't even know what to write. So I had to leave my desk, go in the kitchen. My kitchen in my home is the place I get all of my answers to.
Yeah.
So I went to wash dishes. And then as I was washing dishes, my spirit started talking to me. And I was like, okay, I got it. So I literally had to take my hands out and like shake the water off and run to the computer. And I started writing. And here's what I did when I wrote it. I digested it, and I was like, this is really good. And so then I reached out to 2 male friends. And I said to them, both of them are married, and they both know me through their wives. One of them I was really good friends with prior to his wife. But I said, I would like to get a man's perspective on this.
Okay, good idea.
Like, tell me what you read as a man.
Yeah.
And one of them read it and he was like, this is really good. He said, the only thing that I would say that you would add is that you are a very clear communicator. So please add that. And he was like, if I were on that dating site, I would reach out to you from your profile. And I was like, okay. And then I sent it to my friend's husband, and he read it line for line. He said, let me just tell you how a man is going to interpret this. And he read it line for line. And he gave me feedback on every line. And after he finished, and I was like, wow. And I says, well, I really wrote it from a place of intention. And he said, I can tell. He said, I can tell in every sentence that you really thought about what you wrote. And he says, the right man is going to see that. And then after I did it, I freaked out because I was like, okay, I got stamp of approvals from, men, right? And then I was like, okay, but Vaneese, you got to put it out there and put it up, right?
Right.
So to just kind of shorten the experience and what's unfolded is that I had less and less men contacting me, which I was so happy about. I had a lot of men visiting my profile, but I could really count on one hand the number of men that have reached out to me.
You were weeding out the foolishness.
Well, I
Everybody
think they
got
were also
time.
weeding themselves out, and I was too
yeah.
by my profile.
Yeah.
And I think they were reading into that like this woman, she has some clarity.
Yeah.
Because the guys that I did ended up dating and going out on dates with, and I said, well, what was it about my profile? And the guys was like, I had never read a profile like that before. Like you were, like one guy said to me, he said, you a boss. And I said, you think so? And I said, but I didn't put that word in there. He says, you didn't have to. He said, your energy from your words was like, I know how to run things. So, but I also know how to be feminine and allow a man to be in charge. And I was like, that's what I said. Okay. So it's really now become this fun experience, because I'm still learning about myself. I do date regularly until I meet that person, but it's easier for me now to be clear about how I like to be dated and to respond appropriately. Example, allowing a man to open up the door for me.
Right.
Of course I know how to open the door for myself, but I give myself the opportunity to really step into my feminine essence. I have opinions about a lot of things, but on dinner dates, I'm like, if a gentleman says something to me, I have an opinion about, I just say, that's interesting. And I just kind of just relax. I relax into the experience. I don't need to prove it to you that I know what I know. I don't need to force anything to happen between us. I just need to be here to allow what flows. And I need to see how it feels internally. How does this feel with my spirit? Is this comfortable? Does this feel like warm to me? Do I want to open up a little more? Or do I want to just kind of say, all right, I recognize what's going on, so let this date play out, and then do I need to make a decision as this is playing out, or do I need to reflect on it afterwards? So I actually give myself some grace to really experience, allow the naturalness of it to unfold. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's so much fun. And I'll say this too. There are gentlemen I have been out with, and I've had some really great dates. And I've just said afterwards, either they said something to me that let me know we were not on the same page, that perhaps you were trying to impress me, and I just say thank you, but no thank you. There's some gentlemen I'll say after a couple phone calls, and it'll be like, you know what? We're just not a great connection for each other. And I so wish you the best on your journey. Because as I'm wishing him the best on my journey, I'm also giving that back to myself.
Right.
So it's been a really interesting, fun experience, and I'm just open to see what else is going to happen.
Wow. I love it, Vaneese, especially because the P in the dating pool is such a negative. You give women hope. You give men and women hope who are looking into online dating. It gets such a bad rap. I want to talk a little bit more about that. But first, I want to mention our sponsor, these lovely candles. These are lighting up my whole home with this beautiful fragrance.
It smells incredible.
From the time you open the door.
Yes.
And I keep looking up because my ceilings are 2-story, and you can actually smell them all the way upstairs. These are Thompson Ferrier luxury candles that you can get at thompsonferrier.com/welldiva. I have the elephant. Their gold elephant is orange blossom. And that one is, I always say, reminds me of Morocco, because that is really the scent of Morocco. And then the gold Buddha is their Palo Santo candle, which is a lovely fragrance for inspiring your creativity. So I like to burn that one in the office when I'm working. Again, thompsonferrier.com/welldiva to get some of these fabulous luxury candles into your home. And Vaneese, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this online dating.
Okay.
I used to do online dating back in the day, way back, probably when it first started. Like, I'm trying to think, was it? Yeah, it was like around 2000 or something like that. And one thing that I used to do, I like how you said, I wish you the best in future endeavors or whatever. One thing I used to do in online dating was I could tell like pretty quickly, and it never did work out.
Right,
But
right.
anyway, I would if it was a really nice gentleman though, and I, thought, wow, he's great. I'd be sitting there during the date thinking, who could I hook him up with? I would literally looking in this man's face while he's womp running his mouth. I'm thinking, who could I hook him up with? Because I'm like, he's a great guy. He's just not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I would never say it. I'd wait until the
Yeah.
date was over. I'd get
Yeah.
home and I'd immediately get on the computer.
Oh, wow.
And I'd send the email and I'd say, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much. Dinner was great. Conversation was great. And then I'd say, but I think you and I both know this is not a match.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on, man. You know.
Yeah.
I know, and I know you know. And I'd say, but if you're open to it, I have a friend I'd like to introduce you to. Girl, I ended up hooking up 3 people like that. And that was 3 out of 3. Okay. That was 3 out of 3. Because there's only 3 that I remember sending that email to. And one, they liked each other instantly.
Yes.
They went on a date. Like their first date was to Disney World, girl.
Wow. Oh, that sounds fun.
That
sounds like a lot of fun.
They communicated long distance because they lived in different states and they met up in Florida and went to Disney. Right?
Sounds
They had
fun.
a great first date, and I don't know how long they dated after that. But anyway, it was great. The next one, another one they dated, but it didn't last. But again, they dated. But girl, that one couple, they are married to this day.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful.
they are married to this day. So I'm really proud of my matchmaking.
I think we all love a good love story. We all love a good happy love ending.
I do.
I know you do.
So I love that you do that you ended on a positive note.
Yeah.
But if you have any girlfriends who are single, think about them if it's a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm really lucky I have a good mix of single friends as well as married friends. And what I take from both sides of those are different opportunities to still step deeper into who I am, to become who I am, because I have friends that have been married for I think one of my friends been married maybe 40 something years. And not that their marriage is perfect per se, but I get to really see how healthy, relationships, just develop. And I just left a friend of mine home and she has 7 kids. They're all adults now, she and her husband, and just looking at how their lives have thrived. But in part, that has been because the woman really stepped into who she is. And I just encourage women, and even my single friends, I encourage them to date yourself. It's important in this dating process to date yourself. I have my calendar planned out. I'm going home back to the Bay, as I mentioned today. But on Saturday, I'm going to a jazz festival. I have things on my calendar for September and November. I'm planning now to look at places to go to bring in the new year.
Okay.
So it's important while you're in the dating process to make time to date yourself. Because online is just one area, just one aspect to connect. But I'll tell you what's funny too, is after writing that profile and still taking myself out on dates and still treating myself really nice, because that's who I am and that's what I expect from myself in my own life. I meet so many men now. It just be so funny because it's just, I'm like, they just pop up and I'd be like, oh my God, like I never saw so many men. So there are actually men all around us.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you see the world.
And the energy you put out.
Yeah, the energy you put out. And I've met, again, so a couple of men just out and about, and they've approached me and said things to me. Like I would be in the line and they would turn around and say, oh my God, you smell so good. And I'd be like, thank you. One guy said to me, I saw you in the parking lot. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. Way on the other side of the parking lot. Yeah. So it's like, it's like, oh, girl, that energy's working. Like that emit, that confidence, what you emit, right?
It's so true.
It is so true. And so that's been the other part that's been exciting about it, is the more confident I am in who I am, and the more that I accept who I am and live my life from that place of fullness, the more people come into my life. And then I've had friends that know somebody. Oh my goodness, I know a friend, I can introduce you to.
Okay.
So I think that we get to, as women, in this 40 plus, or if you're in the 50 plus space, just keep growing, keep being bold, keep being big, keep being bad in every aspect of your life, and just really rest in that, really rest in the essence of your femininity. Yes, we know you can run things. Yes, we know you a boss. Yes, we know you can put people in check and do your neck and your hands and your fingers. But at the end of the day, where would you like to rest?
Right.
At the end of the day, what would you like to rest into at the end of the day? And this is funny, I'll say this. What I discovered, the thing that's, when I've heard men say, oh, I'm a simple man, I'm just simple. What they're really saying is, I just like peace. I just want peace, a good hot meal, and another side of peace. So that to me, because I want that too.
Right.
Not only do I want to receive it, I want to give it as well. So I make sure that that's an integral part of how I communicate in my femininity, is to communicate from a place of peace. Communicate from a place of rest and relaxation. Rest is when you physically rest, but relaxation is spiritually. Relaxation is when you rest in your body and your spirit. I don't have to force, I don't have to press, I don't have to push. I can just be a girl, and I can just say, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm open. All right.
Okay.
And when he shows up, just be a lady. Let him do his thing.
Right, right.
And if he doesn't do those things, you can there's a way to sit and wait without having to say, you should pull my chair out. You walk to the table and you just stand.
Stand there.
And then, and then he'll get it. And if the waiter pulls the table out on the maitre d', then, you sit down. But when it's time to get up, you just, oh, I'm going to excuse myself. And then you just wait until, oh, let me get your chair. So, and women say, oh, but a man should know that. Well, if that is I have to get myself open my own door because he should know that. Well, but why do you feel that you have to push it if he's not responding to it? Because if you know what you think he should know, then you should know to wait.
Oh, right.
That
I had that happen one time. Of course, this was several years ago. It was prior to getting married. So this gentleman, he gets to my house, and I'm just sitting in the car. And, because it's like he's waiting for me to get out, and I didn't move.
Yeah.
And he's like sitting there waiting. And then he finally says something, I guess. And I was like, oh, I was just waiting for you to open my door. Oh, I'm sorry. And he comes around, he opens the door. And I guess he felt really bad about it, but I literally was not going to move.
Yeah, just not, yeah.
And then he says, later on, he's apologizing. And he's like, I'm just not used to dating women who want the door open. And I was like, I didn't mean for him to feel bad about it.
No, yeah.
But I just wasn't going to move because that was the way I was trained, So it was cool after that, but yeah.
But I think a lot of things too, as women, that we have stepped so much into, some of us have stepped so much into our masculine energy, and we move so quick, want to get it done right now, until we don't know how to relax into the feminine side of who we are. There was one gentleman I dated for a while, and when I would go to his house, he would come outside to greet me. So I remember the first time I was in my car, and I was like, turning the car off, and I was trying to gather my things, and he had sent me a text, and he said, I'll be right out.
Okay. Nice.
And I said, and I had to slow myself down, because I'm like, why are you coming right out? I'm here. I'm going to go ring the doorbell. The door's right here.
Yeah.
And then I had to just like slow myself down and wait. And then he came out and he greeted me at the car, opened the door for me, stuck his hand out to help me out. And he looked in the car and said, do you have anything that you'd like to bring in the house? Yes, it's in the trunk. He would get that. And then there are times when I would leave his home and he's like, oh, you bought some things with you. I'm going to walk you out to your car, see you off, text me and let me know when you're home. Or he would text me on my journey and say, I just want to check on you. And, how's the traffic going? So those kinds of things, women, we all say, oh, I want somebody to do that for us. But we have to be able to relax into our femininity. There's so many things. I can call a girlfriend.
Let them do it.
Relax and let them do it. Look, I can call a girlfriend. I can listen to music on my phone. Like, there's so many things that I can do that will allow the natural flow to occur versus me trying to do a forceful flow. It just doesn't work. So paying attention to all of who I am and those experiences and what I want and what's important to me, and, embodying that and living from that in every aspect. At the grocery store, I'm waiting for somebody to open the door. On the plane, I'm waiting for a gentleman to put my luggage up. And if he doesn't ask to put my luggage up, I said, would you mind helping me, please?
Right.
And I let him put my luggage up. And the same guy that puts it up, he's trying to get it. When he gets up, when we're ready to deplane, he is trying to rush and get my bag.
Yep.
And if he happened to get on after me, I would kindly ask him, would you mind getting my bag down for me? Get my bag down, and he pulls the handle up.
Yeah.
So I think those really areas are very important, to embody when you're dating in this phase of your life, because I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to press and push no more.
Right.
I just want to be and relax.
Okay.
So that's where I'm having such a great time. And who knows what other adventures will come of this. And I do believe that at some point I will meet the person for me.
Yeah.
But this dating period, this immediate dating period, has allowed me to get as clear as possible about who I am and what's important for me.
Okay. So y'all heard it from Vaneese. That dating pool does not have pee in it like people have been saying. So I think for the person who's saying that, your side of the pool has pee in it.
Yeah.
And you need to, there's something internal that needs to change so that you can get out of that pool section.
Yeah. Because you know what's really interesting is that I hear women say they want a particular type of man, but I tell women in my tribe, and I'm like, we want to be blessed in a particular way. You can receive that blessing, but can you hold it? So if you want a particular type of man to come into your life, you might meet that man, but the question is, what kind of woman do you need to become in order to really thrive in that connection?
So better to just go ahead and work on being that person so that they don't come into your life and then you mess that up.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and work on being who you need to be.
Yeah, work on who you need to be first. And sometimes, our careers are good opportunities, good training grounds. Well, I can't stand my boss. He just get on my nerve and he don't know how to do. And I would just encourage you to really step back and take a wider view of what possibly is going on. Yeah. I used to say to myself, whenever a man would come in the office and be forceful and throwing his weight around, I would say, I don't think he gets acknowledgement at home.
Oh.
And I'm like, he's really trying to, he's not seen and not heard in his house. Yeah. And so this is the next place outside of his home he's spending the most time.
Okay.
So how can I get what I want, but also giving him space that he needs? Yeah. And so I would immediately, go to, oh, that's an interesting perspective. So tell me more about that. Help me understand that. And so what you're telling me is, okay, all right. So I want to get in agreement with what you're talking about. And so let's figure out how we can make this work. And you have to be, you have to choose what's the appropriate temperament, because I don't want anybody feeling like, I got to go and play down to that too. But you get more flies with honey than you do vinegar.
Right. Okay. Now that's the truth.
So there's so many opportunities to practice. Like the gentleman in front of you at the coffee shop, you could have said, excuse me. I know you're not just going to jump up in front of me. You see me up in here and you just going to walk in here and look around. Does there everybody else is in line? Then what makes you think you can't? You could have, he would have been like, you know what? I don't even want no coffee for the rest of the day. Like he might look at his watch and say, is this your normal time you come? So I don't have to be here for all of this.
Right. It could have definitely, that's what happened on the show.
Yeah.
That I was saying on the game. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So the man gets in front of her And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
And she went off and ended up getting banned from the
At
coffee
the coffee
shop.
shop, because it's like, lady, what is so a lot of women they get banned from the energetic connection. They self-impose
Yeah.
the banning from because of energy. It's
Yep.
just like, you have got a nasty attitude, right? And then that man says to you, and he eventually turns around, because guess what? He felt bad.
He did.
He felt some kind of way that he had done that,
knew,
right?
he
And he might
did.
have felt that from your energy of like not pressing up on him, but your energy of relaxing, like, you know
I
what?
did. I just giggled out loud
Yeah,
because
so
I
like,
was like,
really? Yeah, like,
I did like that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he
Oh my
just
God.
did he really just
Step in front of me. Like,
but I
okay.
let it go, and because
Yeah.
it definitely could have gone a whole.
But it was the way that you communicated it. You didn't say that it was okay to step in front of him. You're like, oh my God. All right then, okay. You go ahead, sir. And then that person is like, he's like, oh my goodness, I didn't mean it to come out that way. And he turns around and then goes there. And then you stepped into, should I get something different? But no, I'm going to get what I want. And you asked for what you want. And then when he looked at you at the pricing, you was like, what did you expect a woman such as myself? Well, I think, which is totally appropriate to say, did you expect a woman with myself with leopard print luggage? And I bet you from that point forward, he looked at women with luggage in a whole different way versus JCPenney versus Nordstrom's. I think Saks Fifth. I think he never looks at luggage the same way.
Right. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Because most luggage that come around is either black, it might be
Traditional.
blue or brown or gray, but this stands out.
Just
so
like,
it's like, okay, sir,
Yeah.
pay attention to who you
Yeah.
stepping in front
Yeah, I'm
of.
telling you, I bet you he from that time forward, and they may be someplace laughing on the couch, and they may even come across this podcast show, and like, that was me, and she was like, oh, that's why you picked me. It's like, from that point forward, I looked for women who had leopard print luggage or different luggage, who could speak their mind but not really be aggressive about it.
Right. Well, Vaneese, I so thank you for taking the time to come here today.
It's been great.
I really appreciate it. And that is it for today. And I want to go back again, though. The Boldness Coach.
Yes.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on all the socials, on IG at The Boldness Coach. You can find me on Facebook at The Boldness Coach. My website is theboldnesscoach.com. You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Vaneese Johnson.
Vaneese.
Yes, Johnson, common spelling. Yes.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Unapologetically Fly. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Unapologetically Fly. I hope you found something in this episode that inspires you to finally live for yourself. We all know someone afraid to live their dream and chronically complaining about some part of their life. Be a blessing and send this to that person. And make sure you write a review wherever you're tuned in and subscribe so we can make the world a better place, one fly auntie at a time. See you on the next episode.